Welcome to our Odyssey series. Today, we're diving into one of the greatest stories ever told. Homer's Odyssey. Imagine a world of gods, heroes, monsters, and an epic journey spanning years. This is the tale of Odysseus, a man who longs to return home after the Trojan War. But it's not just his story, it's also about the people waiting for him, the challenges they face, and the timeless themes that still resonate with us today. Let's start with Homer, the legendary poet behind the Odyssey. Tradition tells us he lived around the 8th century BCE. Though we don't know much about him, some even question if he was a single person. His works, the Iliad and the Odyssey, shape Western literature. The Odyssey isn't just a story, it's a foundation of storytelling itself. The story begins after the Trojan War, a 10-year siege where Odysseus played a key role. But his journey home takes another 10 years. Why? Because Odysseus isn't just battling storms or monsters, he's navigating the will of the gods. This is a world where the divine and mortal realms intertwine, where decisions aren't always ours to make. So, what makes the Odyssey so timeless? It's not just an adventure, it's a story about resilience, intelligence, loyalty, and the unyielding human desire to find one's way home. Themes of fate versus free will, the power of cunning over brute force, and the importance of hospitality echo throughout the epic. Odysseus is not your typical hero. He's not the strongest or the fastest, but he's the smartest. Known for his cunning, he uses his wits to overcome obstacles. Think of him as the ultimate problem solver, but also a deeply flawed man who makes mistakes and faces their consequences. He's as human as a hero can get. The Odyssey has inspired countless works, from modern novels to movies. Its themes of perseverance and humanity's struggle against the odds are universal. In many ways, we're all like Odysseus, on a journey, facing trials, and longing for something we call home. In this series, we'll journey with Odysseus through storms, monsters, and heartbreak. Each episode will unpack the drama, characters, and themes that make this epic unforgettable. So, join me as we explore the Odyssey together, one chapter at a time. Welcome back to our Odyssey series. Last time, we explored the origins of Homer's Odyssey and the incredible world it creates. Today, we begin the story itself, starting with Book 1. The focus? Telemachus, Odysseus' son, and the gods who shape his fate. This is where the journey begins, not with Odysseus, but with a young man searching for his father and his identity. Our story opens on Mount Olympus. The gods are holding a council. Zeus, the king of the gods, reflects on the mortality of humans and their suffering, often caused by their own choices. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, speaks up. She reminds Zeus of Odysseus, stranded far from home, longing to return to Ithaca. But there's a problem. Poseidon, the god of the sea, is furious with Odysseus and blocks his return. Meanwhile, in Ithaca, Odysseus' home is in chaos. Suitors have taken over his palace, eating his food and plotting to marry his wife, Penelope. For years, Penelope has stalled them with clever tricks. But Telemachus, Odysseus' son, is growing weary. He's coming of age, but he feels powerless against these intruders. His frustration is palpable. He's a young man trapped by circumstances beyond his control. Enter Athena. Disguised as Mentes, an old friend of Odysseus, she visits Telemachus. Athena inspires him, urging him to take action. She tells him to call an assembly to confront the suitors and then to embark on a journey to learn about his father. For the first time, Telemachus has a spark of hope. He begins to believe he can step out of his father's shadow and shape his own destiny. The next morning, Telemachus calls an assembly, the first in Ithaca since Odysseus left for Troy. He boldly confronts the suitors, demanding they leave. The suitors mock him, but Telemachus stands firm. This moment marks the beginning of his transformation. He's no longer just Odysseus' son, he's stepping into his own as a leader. Encouraged by Athena, Telemachus secretly prepares for his journey. He plans to visit Pylos and Sparta, seeking news of Odysseus. With Athena by his side, disguised as mentor, he gathers supplies and a loyal crew. The young prince is finally taking control of his fate. Next time, we'll follow Telemachus on his first journey, visiting Pylos and Sparta. What will he learn about his father? What challenges lie ahead? Join me as we continue unraveling this epic tale. Welcome back! Last time, we watched Telemachus rise to the challenge, confronting the suitors and preparing to seek news of his father. Today, we follow him as he embarks on his first journey to Pylos and Sparta, a young prince searching for answers in a world of legends. Telemachus' first stop is Pylos, ruled by Nestor, a wise and respected elder who fought alongside Odysseus in the Trojan War. As Telemachus arrives, he witnesses a grand sacrifice to Poseidon, an awe-inspiring scene filled with tradition and piety. Telemachus meets Nestor, who welcomes him warmly. Though Nestor has no news of Odysseus, he speaks of the war and its aftermath, praising Odysseus' cleverness and courage. He encourages Telemachus to visit Menelaus in Sparta, who may have more answers. With Nestor's guidance, Telemachus sets sail again, this time for Sparta, home of King Menelaus and Queen Helen. The journey itself is symbolic, a young man stepping further into a world of myth and history, leaving behind the comfort of home. In Sparta, Telemachus is welcomed by Menelaus, the king, and Helen, whose beauty sparked the Trojan War. The couple shares stories of the war and reveals what little they know of Odysseus. He's alive but stranded on an island, held captive by the nymph Calypso. Telemachus begins to transform. Through his travels, he gains confidence, wisdom, and a deeper understanding of his father's legacy. Each step brings him closer to becoming the leader Ithaca needs. Next time, we shift focus to Odysseus himself, stranded on Calypso's island. How did he end up there? And what does the future hold for the wily hero? Stay tuned for the next chapter of the Odyssey. Welcome back! Today, we continue Odysseus' epic journey. For 7 years, he's been stranded on the island of Ogygia, trapped by the nymph Calypso. She offers him immortality, but all he wants is to return home. Now, the gods have spoken, his journey must continue. But the sea is treacherous, and Poseidon is waiting. The gods are finally taking notice of Odysseus. After years stranded on Calypso's island, Athena pleads with Zeus to help him. Zeus agrees, and Hermes is sent to deliver the news to Calypso. Odysseus has spent 7 years on Ogygia, Calypso's island. Though she offers him immortality and love, his heart longs only for home. We find him sitting by the shore, yearning for Ithaca. Hermes arrives, bringing Zeus' command: Calypso must let Odysseus go. At first, she's furious, accusing the gods of hypocrisy for denying her the right to love a mortal. But in the end, she obeys. Calypso reluctantly tells Odysseus he's free to leave and even helps him build a raft. Odysseus sets sail, but his troubles aren't over. Poseidon, still furious with him, sends a violent storm to destroy the raft. Just when all seems lost, the sea goddess Ino appears. She gives Odysseus a magical veil to protect him. After days of struggling in the storm, Odysseus finally washes ashore on the island of the Phaeacians. Exhausted and battered, he collapses in the shelter of an olive tree. The next morning, Nausicaa, the Phaeacian princess, finds Odysseus while washing clothes by the river. Though startled at first, she shows great courage and kindness, offering him food and clothing. In our next episode, Odysseus shares his incredible journey with the Phaeacians. From the Cyclops to the Lotus Eaters, you won't want to miss these legendary adventures. Welcome back! After surviving shipwrecks and storms, Odysseus has finally reached the land of the Phaeacians. Here, he'll discover a hospitality like no other. Guided by the gods, he enters a city of gold, where King Alcinous and Queen Arete offer him shelter, food, and hope. But will this kindness be enough to get him closer to home? Odysseus has reached the land of the Phaeacians, exhausted but alive. Guided by Athena in disguise, he enters the magnificent city of Scheria, home to King Alcinous and Queen Arete. In the palace, Odysseus humbly kneels before Queen Arete, recounting his plight. The royal couple is moved by his story and promises to help him return home. The next day, King Alcinous holds a grand feast in Odysseus' honor. As the wine flows and food is shared, the Phaeacians celebrate with song, dance, and athletic competitions. Moved by the bard's song about the Trojan War, Odysseus cannot hold back his tears. This prompts the king to ask about his identity. Recognizing Odysseus' hardships, Alcinous offers him gifts for his journey, fine clothing, gold, and a promise of safe passage home aboard a Phaeacian ship. As the Phaeacians prepare the ship, Odysseus reflects on the kindness of strangers and the long journey that still lies ahead. His hope is reignited, home is closer than ever. Next, Odysseus reveals his identity and recounts his incredible adventures, the Cyclops, the Lotus Eaters, and more. The epic stories are just beginning. Welcome back, travelers. Tonight, gather close as Odysseus finally reveals his perilous journey, the terrifying Cyclops, the cunning escape, and the sorceress Circe's dark magic. This is a tale of wit, courage, and survival. After a long and dangerous journey, Odysseus and his men finally land on an unfamiliar island. Exhausted and hungry, they begin exploring, unaware of the terror that awaits them. As they explore, they find a cave belonging to a Cyclops, a giant creature with only one eye. Despite the danger, Odysseus decides to enter the cave, hoping for hospitality. But the Cyclops, Polyphemus, isn't so friendly. When Polyphemus returns home, he traps the men inside his cave and begins devouring them one by one. Odysseus must think quickly to survive. Odysseus comes up with a clever plan. He tells Polyphemus that his name is Nobody, and when the Cyclops falls asleep, Odysseus and his men drive a sharp stake into his single eye. Blind and in pain, Polyphemus calls for help, but when his neighbors come, he tells them that nobody is attacking him. Once Polyphemus is blinded, Odysseus and his men escape by hiding under the sheep as the Cyclops lets them out of the cave. But as they sail away, Odysseus, filled with pride, taunts the Cyclops, revealing his true name. Polyphemus curses him, knowing that his father, Poseidon, will make Odysseus' journey even more dangerous. After narrowly escaping the Cyclops, Odysseus and his men land on the island of Aeaea, where the powerful sorceress Circe lives. But what seems like another challenge turns into a strange twist of fate. When they meet Circe, she invites them into her home, offering food and drink. But soon, her magic takes hold. She turns Odysseus' men into pigs, trapping them in her palace. Odysseus, desperate to save them, is guided by the god Hermes. With Hermes' guidance, Odysseus resists Circe's magic by using a special herb called moly. He confronts Circe, forcing her to undo the spell and free his men. Grateful, Circe offers them hospitality and promises safe passage home. Odysseus and his crew stay with Circe for a year, enjoying feasts and rest. But eventually, Odysseus is reminded of his goal, to return home to Ithaca. Circe provides the final piece of advice he needs, sending him to the underworld to seek guidance from the prophet Tiresias. With Circe's advice, Odysseus sets sail again, but this time, his journey will take him into the realm of the dead, where he must face the spirits of the past to unlock the secrets of his future. Subscribe to continue Odysseus' epic journey. Welcome back, travelers. Odysseus has outwitted monsters and sorceresses, but now he faces a terrifying task. He must journey to the land of the dead. There, he will seek the wisdom of the blind prophet Tiresias, if he can survive the horrors of the underworld. Following Circe's guidance, Odysseus sails to the edge of the world, where the living dare not go. His destination? The entrance to the underworld itself. To speak with the dead, Odysseus must perform a sacred ritual. He digs a trench, pouring offerings of honey, wine, and the blood of a sacrificed ram and ewe. As the blood seeps into the earth, the spirits begin to rise. The first ghost to emerge is not a mighty warrior, but Elpenor, one of Odysseus' own men, who died falling from Circe's roof. He begs Odysseus to return to Aeaea and give him a proper burial, so his soul may rest in peace. Then comes the prophet Tiresias, the one Odysseus came to find. He warns that Poseidon still seeks revenge and that Odysseus must resist temptation when he reaches the island of Helios. If his men harm the sacred cattle, disaster will follow. Next, a heartbreaking sight, Odysseus' own mother, Anticlea. She tells him she died of grief, longing for her son's return. Desperate, he tries to embrace her, but she fades through his arms like smoke. Odysseus then meets Agamemnon, the great king who led the Greeks in the Trojan War. But Agamemnon's story is one of betrayal, slain by his own wife, Clytemnestra. He warns Odysseus to be careful when he finally returns home. Then comes the greatest warrior of all, Achilles. Odysseus praises him, calling him the most blessed of all men, but Achilles only shakes his head. "I would rather be a living servant than a king among the dead," he says. Even the mighty regret their fate. But not all the dead are forgiving. Ajax, who once fought Odysseus for Achilles' armor, refuses to speak. Even in death, his grudge remains. The underworld grows restless. More spirits stir, whispering secrets of the past. But Odysseus has heard enough. He rushes back to his ship, eager to escape before the dead drag him into their world forever. Odysseus leaves the land of the dead, but the weight of fate hangs over him. His journey is far from over, more trials, more temptations, and more dangers await. Will he make it home? Stay tuned for the next adventure. Welcome back. Odysseus' journey continues, but ahead lie the deadliest trials yet, the Sirens, Scylla, and Charybdis. Let's dive in. Circe reveals the dangers ahead, tempting Sirens, a monstrous Scylla, and the deadly whirlpool, Charybdis. Odysseus must choose his path wisely. The siren song is irresistible. Odysseus orders his men to plug their ears with wax and tie him to the mast. He must hear, but not be lured. Odysseus begs to be freed, but his crew, staying true to his orders, rows onward. They escape, one trial down, but greater threats remain. They approach the narrow strait. On one side, Charybdis threatens to swallow the ship whole. On the other, Scylla lurks, ready to snatch sailors from the deck. Odysseus chooses the lesser evil, Scylla. As they sail past, her 6 heads strike, dragging 6 men into the abyss. He can do nothing but move forward. They reach Helios Island, where Odysseus warns his men, do not eat the sacred cattle. But hunger can cloud judgment. Ignoring warnings, the crew slaughters Helios' cattle. Furious, Zeus unleashes a storm, shattering the ship. Only Odysseus survives. Odysseus drifts alone, eventually reaching the island of Ogygia, where the nymph Calypso awaits. His trials are not over yet. Shipwrecked and alone, Odysseus lands in the hands of Calypso. Will he ever return home? Stay tuned for the next chapter of the Odyssey. After years of trials, Odysseus finally returns home, but his journey is far from over. Hidden in disguise, he must plan his next move carefully. With Athena's aid, Odysseus arrives unseen. She disguises him as a beggar. His kingdom is no longer safe. Odysseus finds refuge with Eumaeus, his faithful swineherd. Though unaware of his guest's true identity, Eumaeus remains loyal to his long-lost king. Odysseus, still in disguise, listens as Eumaeus speaks of his unwavering faith in his king's return. He now knows who he can trust. Meanwhile, Athena visits Telemachus, urging him to return. The time for reunion is near. At last, father and son reunite. Telemachus, overwhelmed with emotion, embraces Odysseus. The battle for Ithaca begins now. The palace is full of men vying for Penelope's hand. Odysseus must tread carefully, his enemies outnumber him. Odysseus and Telemachus devise a plan. Their patience will soon pay off. With his son by his side, Odysseus prepares to reclaim his throne. But the suitors won't surrender easily. Stay tuned for the final showdown. Odysseus has returned, but his throne is still out of reach. Disguised as a beggar, he enters his own palace, where danger and deception await. At last, Odysseus sets foot in his home, but no one recognizes him. The suitors drink and laugh, ruling his palace like kings. He must be patient, for now. Among the many who fail to recognize Odysseus, one does, his old dog, Argos. With one final wag of his tail, he welcomes his master home, and passes away. The suitors mock the beggar, hurling insults and food at him. One, Antinous, even strikes him. But Odysseus stays silent, revenge is best served cold. Penelope, still grieving her lost husband, speaks to the beggar. His words seem familiar. Could her heart recognize the man before her? In the dead of night, Odysseus and Telemachus plot their attack. Athena stands by, guiding them. The suitors have no idea what's coming. The gods send a sign, 2 eagles circling above, a symbol of doom for the suitors. But they laugh, blind to their fate. Something about this beggar unsettles them. His posture, his words, there's more to him than meets the eye. The storm is coming. Odysseus waits, his anger contained for now. The time for patience is ending. Soon, the halls of Ithaca will echo with vengeance. Tomorrow, the battle begins. The suitors will pay for their crimes. Ithaca will know its king once more. The moment of reckoning has arrived. A contest will decide Penelope's new husband. But Odysseus has other plans. Penelope announces the contest.
Whoever strings Odysseus' legendary bow and shoots through 12 axe heads will be my new husband.
One by one, the suitors test their strength, but none can bend the mighty bow. It was never meant for them. Then, the old beggar steps forward. The suitors mock him. What chance does he have? With a steady hand, he grips the bow and strings it effortlessly. The hall falls silent. He draws the bow, aims, and fires. The arrow sails clean through all 12 axe heads. Then, with a thunderous voice, he declares,
I am Odysseus, king of Ithaca.
Before the suitors can react, he fires. One falls, then chaos erupts. With Telemachus and loyal allies at his side, Odysseus unleashes his wrath. The suitors fall, one by one. At last, the great hall is silent. The usurpers are no more. Ithaca belongs to its rightful king once more. But vengeance is not complete. More trials await Odysseus. Will he reclaim his throne fully? Find out in the final chapter of the Odyssey. After years of trials, Odysseus is finally home. But one final challenge remains. Will Ithaca accept its king once more? Odysseus has returned, but Penelope is wary. After so many deceivers, can she trust this man is truly her husband? She tests him with a secret only they know, their bed, immovable, carved from a living tree. When Odysseus reveals the truth, her doubts vanish. At last, after 20 years, husband and wife are together again. Their love has endured time and war. But peace is still fragile. The suitors' families seek revenge, ready for war. Can Ithaca survive another fight? Athena, goddess of wisdom, commands an end to the violence. With her blessing, Ithaca finds peace at last. With order restored, Odysseus takes his rightful place as king. His journey is over, but his legacy will last forever. From war to wandering, from loss to love, Odysseus' Odyssey has come to an end. But his tale will be told for generations to come. Thank you for following this journey. Subscribe for more epic tales.